appear nothing was being done. At another council meeting in 2005, Roger Stone seemed to offer an explanation.
The leaders said, "Oh well, we have to tread carefully on this because we don't want to upset the community." We had been told at the previous meeting that the perpetrators were Asian men, and because of that, and only because of that, I assumed the leader meant the Asian community.
Mr. Stone has told Panorama he can't remember what he said more than a decade ago, but he insists he did take action. Elsewhere, parents were challenging the police.
I said, well, why can't you investigate what's going off now? And all I got after that were, I've told you, we cannot because of racial tension. When it weren't about race, this. This is about what some adults were doing to some children, which left us devastated. Because we got nowhere else to turn.
And in 2006, another report from Angie Heel raised the issue. She said some workers in the town feared the abuser's ethnicity was one reason for a lack of police investigations. It was a third detailed warning about Rotherham's problems.
There was issues of ethnicity, and some people felt that ethnicity was a barrier to investigating. It seemed to be too sensitive an issue.
If there had been direct engagement with the Pakistani heritage community and not through the conduit of the traditional, I have to say, male domination of the imams in the mosques and elected members in the council, a lot more might have been done much sooner.
Within Rotherham's Pakistani heritage community, there is bewilderment about why that wasn't done.
I think also it was lack of services response to what was going on turning a blind eye.
And some ask what message the lack of investigations sent.
Abuse is abuse, and you should never ever shy away from pinpointing abuse. In terms of those men that perpetrated against white young girls, they will have been abusing internally within their own communities. And it's about time that we started to recognise and prosecute.
Without prosecutions, new abusers were able to claim new victims, as one mother probably knows better than anyone. Both of Maggie Wilson's daughters were sexually exploited. It began when her eldest, Sarah, was just 11.
She had 2 phones, because there were a pattern with phones. If it rung, it was if it were a sign to, right, it's time to meet and things like that. We got to a stage where I even had to lock the bedroom windows, which I still get out because there were no lock on the bathroom window.
Again, she was desperately trying to get the police and council to help. Even when Sarah should have been protected in care, the abuse continued. Only later did Maggie discover her youngest daughter, Laura, was also being groomed.
Did you think that she was getting drawn into exploitation in the same way as Sarah had been?
I didn't know, because she always said that she wouldn't.
Laura was seeing a boy called Ashtiaq Ashgar. When they were both 17, he murdered her, after she revealed her involvement with him and another man to their families.
It's a lonely spot here where Laura was murdered by
An official inquiry found the authorities had known for 4 years that Laura, like her sister, was being groomed. Maggie believes if she'd been given more help when she first asked, things would have been different.
If they'd have listened to me all them years ago, Laura wouldn't be where she is now. She'd be alive.
Finally, in 2010, nearly 15 years after the abuse was identified, Rotherham got its first convictions for sexual exploitation.
These men were involved in the organised sexual abuse of 3 teenagers.
5 men were jailed for a total of 32 years. It should have been a turning point for the town, but there have been no other major prosecutions since. And still the grooming and exploitation goes on. Until 2 years ago, this man's daughter was a target.
Sometimes we found her in the park, sometimes we found her in Sheffield.
They'd already had a lot of contact with social workers and felt all the blame was being put at their door.
We're not excellent parents, nobody's excellent parents, but we did his best. What can you do? Apart from ring police, and then they say they can't know till something happens. That's all you ever got from them.
He was shocked when he discovered Rotherham Council had known about the men suspected of abusing his daughter since 2007, long before her abuse began.
Well, I was just sifting through it, having a look at basically notes they were sending, and then I saw that, Rotherham safeguarding, and I read it, and I went absolutely ballistic.
Social workers had accidentally left this document in a bundle of other papers.
This is a list of names.
What they were keeping from us.
Did you know any of this?
No, not one bit of it.
And it says here that your daughter and another girl are in contact with two of the males listed here.
Yeah.
Again, down here, it says, these males have also featured in previous strategy meetings held by Safeguarding, dating back to 2007.
So why weren't not done then?
So if they'd acted in 2007...
Yeah. It might not have happened to my daughter.
Instead, she became yet another child in Rotherham to be sexually exploited. The only person in authority to resign for such failure has been the council leader, Roger Stone. Both Rotherham Council and South Yorkshire Police have apologised. They refuse to be interviewed for this programme, but say improvements have been made and they will act on Alexis J's recommendations. Arshid Hussain, who abused Isabel when she was 14, has still not been prosecuted.
I don't understand why my life's been affected and his hasn't, he's just completely got away with it.
Through his solicitor, Arshid Hussain has told us he denies the criminal allegations made against him. There is now a major police investigation into past cases. This is a scandal that has caused shock far beyond this one South Yorkshire town. A warning to all communities.
It's essentially a hidden problem. You need to seek it out and identify it, because the one thing that won't happen is that the individuals will come forward themselves easily and ask for help.
And it is children who live with the consequences when others fail to act.
Being betrayed by the people that you thought were there to protect you, that you genuinely believed would protect you. Can you imagine what that does to a child? That is lifelong damage, and that could have been prevented.
For details of organisations which offer advice and support, go online or call the BBC Action Line to hear recorded information on 0800 077 077. Lines are open 24 hours and are free from most landlines. Some networks